Hello everyone. Welcome back to alkaline hydroxide 784, and today we will be covering what you do before paper 2. And yes, paper 2 is quite different from paper 1 because it's a comprehension and in paper 2 you had to do three different sections: the short answer questions, the summary, and the AQ. So today I will tell you the various tips before like the exam that you can use for paper 2 for each of these sections. Okay, so the short answer questions. Well, of course, in you don't know what the questions are before the paper, but you definitely know what kind of questions they can possibly test, like from your class practices or how many other practice that you may have done. So what you should do is to know how the different types of questions work. So you should know what kind of questions there are, which will come from listening in class and also from practice. And what I mean, for example, the literal questions, the vocabulary questions, the inference questions, and also things like irony or things like that. So after you know what kind of questions there are, you can address each type of question accordingly. Think about how you're supposed to address that question. Like for example, if you have a literal question, you just need to take something from the passage and then just paraphrase it. So that's basically the strategy. And then the vocabulary question could be your own knowledge of vocabulary. Well, nothing much to say here. And inference is, well, what you can infer from the information in the passage. And there'll be certain questions where you need to write the purpose as well as the context. So things like that you should take note of, the strategies for each question. And you know just just prepare yourself mentally beforehand so that when you actually encounter the questions on that day, you will have a better idea of how to tackle the questions and you won't just be stumped staring at the question. Okay, so the next thing, summary. So for the summary, you just need to go to a certain part of the passage and then find a bunch of points and then put it into the summary. So in this case, what you might have problem with before the exam, you may think, oh, okay, I see these words, but I do not know how to paraphrase them, or you cannot find synonyms for the words. You know, of course, we all face that problem at least once. So if you do see words like that in class or in your practices, do look them up in the dictionary or the thesaurus. And sometimes, you may think, oh no, how do I even paraphrase this thing? But there could be this really simple word that actually is the perfect way to paraphrase it. You never know what seemingly simple word eludes you when you're doing your summary. It happens. I relate. Okay, so of course, if you have certain problems with doing summary, you figure out what are your problems and then practice. Of course, practice doing the summary. So you can come up with your own strategy for finding your points and doing it quickly, or if you can listen to what I say in the next video on how you're supposed to do it during the exam. So of course, another issue that people face is that sometimes they don't know how much to paraphrase, and they end up overdoing it. Of course, so if you do not know how much to paraphrase, find it out now. Find it out before the exam starts. Find the right balance between paraphrasing and also retaining the meaning as much as possible, so that you can employ this similarly in the exam and not end up overdoing it or underdoing it. Because that's what summary is. It's like you need to paraphrase, but you also need to retain the meaning. Those are the most important things to take note of. Okay, so finally we have the AQ, the application question. I hope you've learned some stuff from the paper one videos already. But the AQ is slightly different because it's referring to the points in the passage. You have to find points in the passage and then give local examples. That's the other difference. Local examples is what you need to be talking about. Okay, so for this, you need to learn to understand what the question is asking for and find the relevant and suitable points quickly. I think I will talk more about this in the next video on how you're supposed to do it during the exam. But if you have problems with finding relevant points, approach your teacher, or maybe if you don't understand the nuance or something, you can just ask your teacher, ask your friends, and then figure it out. And during the exam, just hope that you can figure it out yourself. Yeah. And since the AQ is based on local examples, it usually asks, oh, how does it apply to Singapore? Or like, okay, not how does it apply, how true is it of the society in Singapore on your own country? And actually, they won't mention Singapore, but they will ask your society in a sense. But since this is where we live in Singapore, just remember, and local news is the easiest thing to get here. So might as well just focus on Singapore. Unless you're some Chinese scholar who can remember things that happened in China. Yeah. Anyways, so if you're gonna focus on Singapore, please do read the local news, even if you find it utterly boring or very uneventful. I'm pretty sure there's enough events for you to be interested in it. And also think of the various big issues that we face in Singapore. I'm pretty sure there's actually stuff that you have to think about, and that may help you when you're actually doing the AQ so that you don't have to do extra thinking at that point of time. You finish the thinking beforehand. But to be honest, you don't need to really must you don't need to be so kiasu on that. Just keep things in mind. Just keep things that what could be potential issues, and what are potential news that might be useful for the AQ. Yeah. And of course, for the AQ, practice helps because I think in general paper 2 requires more of a practice compared to paper 1, which is more of a strategy ish kind of paper. Because paper 2 is not something that you can just write your own stuff or anything. You have to follow a certain topic. You have to know how to interpret and understand the points given in the passage. And for that, practice is the easiest way to do it. But at the same time, some people are already pretty decent at it, and if you're pretty decent at it and you can find practices, it's okay, don't worry. Just do the other things like thinking about the different question types, keeping it in mind, and also reading up on the local news. I think that's what is most important here. And finally, for the AQ, you must remember that what is the overall structure, because even during the exam, if you don't have enough paras, that's okay, but you must definitely have your intro and your conclusion so that your AQ will be at least a complete piece. So just remember what you're supposed to write for the intro and for the conclusion. Of course, the conclusion won't be particularly substantial, it's just like a one liner, one sentence kind of thing, but you must still write it there. It is quite important to write it there. And of course, the introduction, what your stance, which doesn't have to be a full agree or full disagree. You can say mostly agree or mostly disagree, because you can include nuances into your points. So yeah, just remember how to do it, like how to refer to that particular point in the line, write down the line in the bracket, do all that stuff. Just make sure to just keep that in mind before you do the exam. Okay. And of course, these are the three different sections in paper 2. So overall, what are the main things you need to do before the exam? Well, you can practice your time management if you do have problems with it. The easiest way to split it up is 30 minutes for each section, but this means you don't have time to check. So you I think a more complicated way of more complex way of splitting it up, maybe I'll tell that in the next one, or I can also but generally you can keep 5 minutes for checking at the end, and I will tell it in more detail in the next one. But this when you're practicing, the easiest way to do it is like 30 minutes or 25 minutes if you want to do it quickly. Yeah. Because even when you're studying you may not want to do the entire paper, so you can just use this as a general guideline for each section. Maybe 25 minutes is a good one. Okay. So the next part, understand where your weaknesses lie, or where you can speed through as well, so that you can allocate your time accordingly. Because the thing I just said is a super general, super simplistic splitting up of time. And well, maybe for me, I can speed through the summary or something. I can finish it in 20 minutes, for example. I don't know if I can actually do that, but I need more time for the short answer questions or something like that. Then I would, of course, allocate more time to do the short answer questions. And also think about how much time you need to check, because some people can check way faster than others. Some people need to really do check it twice, thrice, I don't know. So just factor those things when you're planning on your strategy for the exam. And of course, this is not like maths or science that you need to study, burn the midnight oil or anything. So actually, please don't do that for any of the subjects. Sleep well before any exam. Sleep is more important than one extra practice paper or one extra topic of study. Of course, if you are able to function after sleeping, maybe sleeping at 11 or 12, then that's okay. But please don't stay up after 12 for sure. As for me, I cannot function after 10 p.m., so I might as well just go and sleep at 10:30 so that I can at least get some sleep. Yeah. And of course, this is GP. It is different from for everyone else, so please figure out what works best for you using the tips that I've just told. And if you do have any other questions, you can ask me in the comment section or in Reddit. I guess I hope you're happy that this video is shorter than the other ones. It's only 12-ish, 13-ish minutes long. That's a good thing. The other videos are like 20 minutes long. That's not good. Okay. So in the next video, I will be talking about what you do during the exam, and by exam I mean paper 2. And oh yes, I think one final note, since you'll be doing paper 2 after paper 1, that's for sure. Whatever time you do it, like whatever day you're gonna do it, you're definitely gonna do it after the paper 1. So you won't have a lot of time in between paper 1 and paper 2. In that period of time, what should you do? If you have a problem with, if you want to hold your pee until the end of paper 2, please go to the toilet. Please don't try to do any last minute studying, because but from personal experience, for me, I usually just get a slight headache after doing paper 1. So if you do get a headache, I suggest you don't try to study anymore. Just relax, calm down, drink some water, that helps with the headache, and prepare yourself for paper 2. Okay, so yeah, um I think that's about it. The next one will be what you do during the paper 2, and I hope you look forward to it. If you found this useful, please press the like button and subscribe. Yay. So thank you and bye.